fit a large kernel. Well, thank you for coming on a Sunday here to this film, this quest. It started on a Sunday. It started on a Sunday when I was 7 years old. We went to Mass at 8 a.m. in the morning, and my dad wanted it early because he wanted to go to golf. He was not a very good Catholic. But I was a really good Catholic. I'm not anymore. But I was there, and then in Channel 6 in Guadalajara, they showed monster movies and Universal movies all day on TV. And I saw Boris Karloff that Sunday, and that was my Messiah. I decided, okay, this is what Grandma talks about when she talks about Jesus. This guy has it for me. You know, and I understood the resurrection of the flesh, the Immaculate Conception, the stigmata, all of that. And above anything else, I felt this is how I feel at age 7. This is how I feel the world is so full of lies and such a lack of explanation from anyone. And I tried to start to make sense of it. And then at age 11, I bicycled my way to a supermarket, an expert supermarket, and I bought a pocket edition of a novel. And I read it. And I said, well, that's not the movie I saw at all. It has more urgent questions. It has things that speak to me. Later I would find out it was done by a teenager. It was sponsored by a teenager that had eloped with her lover, married lover at age 16, who had been chased across the English Channel, who was basically part of a movement, the romantic movement, that, in spite of what we understand by that word now, was a badass movement. They were punks. They were saying, this is not the world how we understand it. And one of the things they said was the enemy, the antagonist, is life. You know? And they were so full of existentialism and dread and beauty all at the same time. And I decided, as I read her biography also, over and over the decades, wrote several introductions to the editions of Frankenstein, I decided this is a good way to create an opera in which I talk about my dad and I. And then as the years passed, and I avoided doing the same mistakes I thought my dad had made, I made them all in order. One day I saw my dad in the most unexpected place, which is the mirror. At 40-something, I said, oh, there he is. And I realized that I had become my dad. I had become a dad. And now it was time for me to apologize to my kids. And in order to tell that story, I needed an extraordinary actor to play the father, an extraordinary actor to play the son, to play creature, to play creator, to play beauty, and play beast. And I decided to make this a movie of my life. I tried to make it over the last 3 decades, many times. I always held out to do it the right way. I said, this is the last of the Mohicans. Let's do it the right way, the way they used to make movies. So everything you're about to see, most everything you're about to see, beyond the Call of Duty, is handmade by humans for humans, and is always. And I'll be back with a couple of those characters to talk to you fellas in a couple of hours. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It was good. Oh, that way. My morning exercise. Thanks, Bill Hader. How about that movie?
We only have 2 chairs out here tonight. Unfortunately, Jacob Elordi is sick, so he's not able to make up. I knew I was going to hear one girl go, oh my gosh, it's like these 2 girls are literally stunned. But we have Victor himself, Oscar Isaac. And the writer, director, the master, Guillermo del Toro, ladies and gentlemen.
Please tell everyone on the TikToks.
Tell everybody that happened. Well, this is SAG screen, so I wanted to ask you, Guillermo, what was it with these are like really, iconic characters. What were you looking for in the casting for both Victor and the creature? Notice I said the creature.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
The reality for me is that you find when an actor has intelligence and understanding of the material, emotional connection to it, that's the first part. But the second part for me is to spend time with them, look at their eyes, the energy in their eyes, because 50% of movie making is looking at or being looked at, so the eyes are extremely important for me. But with Oscar, it happened so organically. We were meeting, I never take general meetings because they always end in disaster. Like a long drive, yep, yeah. So all the time, like really difficult. But Oscar, we started meeting and we started talking about our fathers, about being destroyed by Catholic religion. I said, this is my main man. But we connected at a very visceral level. We had tried to do Shape of Water before, and we were going to work together. And finally, the meeting ends, and I said, I'm doing Frankenstein, I'm going to write Victor for you.
Wow.
You told me.
Dude. What was that like?
It was crazy. I mean, it was completely unexpected. And
The pork speaking.
yeah, we were eating Cuban food at the time. So I was like, this guy's drunk on pork.
Hey, Oscar, it was the pork, man. I'm not writing Frankenstein.
That's what I was
for you.
expecting when I got home,
I told the busboy I was writing Frankenstein for him. I told everybody.
It's something I do, I just...
But was that amazing? Like, what was it about the character for you? Like, what was the end for you?
Well, yeah, so then it was talking about our dads and like trauma that gets passed down from our fathers and then being fathers and the fear of continuing that. And then when I left, he gave me Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and the Tao Te Ching. He was like, read these two.
You gave me that book too.
I have a stack of 40.
Yeah, it was
I
very
think
sweet.
it's one of the greatest books for me. It's like a life-saving manual. And then I also send the book of Jobs. These are things because I think the acceptance at the end in the film is so important. I mean, it's so important. It comes from a very personal place for me. I lived that moment, that dawn during the kidnapping of my dad. In the middle, it happened to me. I used to resent the son, and I said, the son doesn't care about my pain, and my dad was kept 72 days. And in the middle of it, I realized, no, it's my pain that doesn't care about the son. So I'm going to just take it, and that's life. And there was a calm that came over me. So it comes from the Tao, comes from Zen, comes from reflecting that your place is. And the book of Job says to God, why me? And God says, why not? Basically it says, Job, let me tell you, it's in the manual. You're going to get it. And I think those things and what forgiveness gives you, is so, when you unstuck the ship from the ice, it's so beautiful. And I knew I had in Victor, in Oscar playing Victor, I had the intelligence to do this in a pitch that is very difficult. Because he's a man, like every tyrant, he has two things, certainty and the certainty of being a victim, which are both false. But I knew he was going to play it big. That's going to dictate the visual style of the film, and it's going to land it small. And now the difficult part was finding the creature, the son.
And what was that process like before you landed on Jacob?
Well, we had cast another actor. We had done all the prosthetic work. It took 9 months to sculpt, do trial and error corrections, and then 9 weeks before the movie started, he left. And everybody panicked, and I said, you know, I'm old enough to know that when the movie talks, it talks through that. Something unexpected, something, you know, and people talk about vision. Directing is vision. Directing is Costa's negotiation with reality. Reality is, I'm gonna fuck you over. No, you're not. Put the gun down. Let me talk to you for a second. And I said, a miracle is about to happen. And I started talking to actors, and on the same day, my wife, my daughter, and Ted Sarandos, all three, said, there is this guy, Jacob alone, and you should see Salford, and you should see Priscilla, right? So I saw them, I thought, this guy has the range, it's fantastic, let me talk to him. And I talked to him on Zoom, and I texted Oscar, said, we found him. He said...
What was the time between the other actor leaving and...
Days.
Wow.
Days. I had 9 days to cast the part, or we had to push the movie, and we couldn't push the movie because I wanted to shoot in winter. What you see is really the frozen north. We had built the ship full scale on motors. We could only make it a frozen. We had it on a frozen parking lot. Nothing could be delayed. But I knew we were going to find him, and Jacob said, this creature is more me than me. And I said, okay, that's what I say about the movie. That's what, and working with him, and I can talk more flattery about him when he's not around. But
And more shit too, if you want.
yeah,
He's not here.
wait, let me tell you. No, you know, he landed and had 4 weeks to prep the character after taking the molds, and we had a few more weeks to finish the sculpt and all that. And he landed, and we used Buto, the Japanese dance of reanimating the dead, as the basis of the language. And we talk about the developmental stages on a baby, and talk about this and that. And then he started a very, very beautiful process in finding the creature in the vulnerability. And we watched silent cinema.
Yeah.
We watched Emil Jennings on The Last Man, and Ivan the Terrible. And I started developing a language with the hands and this and that. And all of a sudden, the first day he comes in, and I grab him, I grab his hand, and I went like this on me.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning of the friend moment.
Friend, yeah, he's really powerful in that moment. Friend.
The way they work, by the way, this will be interesting, and you can speak to this. The first scene we shot in the entire movie between them is the last scene of the film, the forgiveness scene.
Wow.
So,
What was that like? I mean, you're like, what am I forgiven for? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This creature's funny. You must think of somebody else.
I should have done it like that. That's really good.
Who are you, man? I came off an Iron Maiden poster. You look great. I love you. This guy's hilarious.
That would have been differently. Maybe a better movie. Yeah, that was the first thing, just the way that it lined up the schedule, that was the first thing we were going to shoot, because we were going to lose that, or that was the first set that was ready for us.
yeah, we set in the frozen north,
Yeah.
and then landed there. I remember my dialogue with Miles. I said, "Oh, this," and he said, "It's the only set we have." And they go, "You know what?" Then,
But the truth is, every day was equally crazy. There was always something insane to do. So it was even hard to like figure out which one was harder than the rest. I remember the very first day was on the frozen tundra up there, and I've got the prosthetic leg, and I'm, you know, on this sled with these dogs and being pulled around. It's the very first day with like a fake beard and a big hat, and then these big fans going, and me in the middle of the ice, and then
And the day before, a pickup truck had sunk in
there as well. They're like, you're gonna be fine. Go, let's go. It's okay. Go. We're losing the light. Go. And this wasn't even like it was a pre-shooting day. That was like the trick. So
It's a good production trick.
yeah, and then I just remember it's like the first take. I'm out there, and Guillermo was with the megaphone going, "Grim determination, grim determination."
On a Russian arm.
Yeah, like, oh God, what is it?
By the way, a Mexican Russian arm, which we had concocted of other pieces. And that's what I love is what ends up in the screen, which is beautiful. When people say visionary, no, you're doing poetry with hardware and with timetables, and the sun is setting and everything, and then what it is out of all that, something beautiful comes out at the last minute in one take, and that's what is there. That's what I love about what we do. Finding that.
I was the first time I got to see a rough cut of the movie. I brought my.
That's why you're in the credits.
Yeah, I'm in the credits, which was pretty fucking cool. Thank you. Can't believe I'm in the credits. Thank you for that. But with my 13-year-old.
Can I tell you something?
What?
Somebody told me the other day, we were worried about you. I said, why? Because it was like you were saying farewell to all your director heroes. I said, those are my friends.
Yeah.
I was not committing.
Once they see my name in there, they're like, oh, okay. These are just his buddies. But what I did like that moment when you were on the I told Oscar this when it cuts to him with the sled and the dogs. I just wanted to cut to Frankenstein, going, shit, he is mad. Dude, this dude is so mad at me. He fucking rented a dog sled.
That is exactly what is great about
That's what's so awesome about grim determination. That's what's awesome about it.
In the book, it's so fantastic because they chase each other through everywhere, all the way to the north, the real north, and the creature keeps leaving messages, and brings him food. I see you're a little weak. I'm gonna leave this food so you can chain me some more. So it's so beautiful in the book.
And also, he knows that he's indestructible. So what is he gonna do when he gets it? That's what's so wild about it.
Yeah. What now, Oscar? First thing I called you after I was like, dude, I love your performance in this so much. It's so good. And what were you? I was like, I see some stuff, but what were you drawing on? Were there certain actors you were talking about?
Well, one of the
or you guys talked about.
Yeah, you showed me the Devils, which is such a.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, this is the tone, and let's look at Oliver Reed. And listen to Oliver Reed, and I really went down on Oliver Reed. He's such a wild man, and has both, incredible intelligence and articulate, and is also just like a drunken beast as well. At the same time, and has so much rage, and passion, and is unhinged. And so, Guillermo early on said, look, this is not naturalism. I need speed. You have long reams of dialogue. I want it to go at a clip. There's not a lot of pauses, there's not a lot of waiting. It needs to have a momentum, a propulsion. And so listening to Oliver Reed was really helpful. I listened to a recording that he did, this Desert Island Discs recording,
Wow.
where he's talking about his past and, everything that he did. And I'd like to hockey, those who read ice hockey player. Like Chip Zavic was my favorite hockey player. And it was just, this is the speed of the way it would go. And I would just listen to that a lot. And then there was lots of different things. I had, lots of William Blake drawings everywhere, just that kind of physicality and the reaching for something mysterious, and it felt a little crazy, like someone that's trying to commune with something. And that's the thing with Victor. We talked about him being more of an artist than a scientist, and that he's got this need to express and also kind of expunge his father from out of him, and that kind of manic desire to do it is what drives him and makes him blind to all the casualties that are, all the destruction that he's causing.
But the beautiful thing on the symmetry in the film is you have a man that is playing basically everything that has accumulated, and the contrast is you have a person that has been newly created, newly minted, and the hardest thing in that is the other person has to be playing nothing, has to be playing somebody which everything is new. But the wonder, there's a moment that I'm very moved by, in which you see the two characters arrive at two separate points, irreconcilable, and it's early on. Victor is showing him the place where he's gonna put him, and the creature reacts to the change like a baby, like, this is so cool, and he says, one, another one. And then Victor leaves and he goes, like, don't leave. And then Victor says, calm down, and then the creature discovers a reflection and falls on the floor, and now Victor is not important, the reflection is all that matters, and that's when Victor goes, now what? Right? And it's such a beautiful work from both him and Jacob in doing that, because that contrast is, you have a person that is new, that knows nothing, and somebody that has just reached the apex of his life. And violence will occur.
Yeah, and Victor, there's no part of Victor that is trying to be liked by anyone, obviously. And, he just doesn't give a shit. And there's something that's very freeing. It's defiance and pleasure were the two things that I really found really bubbled up a lot.
Yeah, it's a thing, you talk about the artist part of it too, where he creates this thing that kind of has these qualities. I mean, when I was watching it again, I was like, oh, it's that kind of like this thing has qualities that he doesn't have, and you wish maybe he had on some level. And I felt it really when Mia meets him, and she's fantastic in the movie too, Mia Goth. When she meets him, there is that thing where he's kind of, the jealousy comes in, but I thought I felt it there, and then also just personally, the scene where you give me the leg, or shoot me the leg, or whatever. I was like, that's me in the edit bay, or whatever. Like, trying to use that frustration.
He's like a director or a musician, and Armando is the studio. I'll give you anything except that.
Right.
I'll give you anything you need, but you gotta go to the battlefield. But I think that what is very heartbreaking, which in my own life I don't understand, is how can anyone enact violence to a child? I don't understand it. It's just inconceivable, and to see it happen with a creature for whom you mean everything, and then the fact that the creature recoils makes him even angrier. I mean, those are moments that for me are at the heart of the film. And that's a relationship I wanted to explore that was not in the book. That is, how do you go from wanting something so much, and this can be men that call a woman my muse. Oh my God, just walk the fuck away.
Everybody get that, ladies?
No.
Guy says amused.
It's like timeshare disgrace. On future disgrace. Or somebody saying, I want this so much, and then it exists, but doesn't exist in the terms. It exists in terms of disappointment. That's bad parenting. When he says, to you I am obscene, but to myself I simply am. It is really, it's so heartbreaking to see Victor do violence, do something that had one word for everything. Victor. He's so beautiful.
But in his mind, it's just an extension of himself. And, it's easy to be cruel to yourself. And that's why it's so kind of cognitive dissonance when Elizabeth sees it as its own entity. Because it's, well, if you like him, I gotta like me, that's me.
What about me?
What about me? It's all about me. So he's an artist. So for you, I just watching, your films. I mean, Frankenstein, I know it plays a huge part in your life and your other movies, and now you're actually doing it. What part of it, when you're writing this and making it, you're going, because you're talking about all this personal stuff, the personal things you brought into it. What was that balance for you between that and like the Bernie Wrightson kind of illustrations, but also Hammer, the novel,
Well, there is
Universal, all that stuff. Did that matter to any of you, or you just
Well,
emotional?
no, because look, this is something I saw on a Sunday after church at age 7. I saw Boris Karloff, and he became my Messiah. Grandma got Jesus, I got Boris Karloff. You know, and at 11 I read the novel and I said, I'm gonna make this movie. At 11, I was already a budding Super 8 filmmaker. I said, maybe if I buy enough reels in the pharmacy, I can paint it. But it's a quest that if you see every movie I have,
Yeah.
from Kronos to Pinocchio, Frankenstein is in every damn movie, or it's a dress rehearsal with Crimson Peak, or there's this or that.
Shape of Water.
Yeah, no, but even Blade 2, the subplot with Nomak coming to his father and saying, why did you make me like this? Why did you make me a monster? Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I wrote 5 prologues for 5 editions of Frankenstein. I studied the romantics. At some point, it's so mixed with my own DNA that I say, my duty is, adaptation is not easy. It's like a fish adapting to land, right? It has to grow legs and lungs and live in a different medium. And you say, as long as you're doing it out of knowledge, love, and it hurts. It's like you're singing that song anew. So I'm not concerned. I know Shelley, I know Percy, I know the story, I know their biographies. So none of it is done out of ignorance. And I use an analogy that may serve. Adapting is like marrying a widow. You respect the late husband's memory, but you gotta get it on.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You're with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ralph.
He's like, oh, hey, Guillermo, whoa. That's my wife was talking about. Well, I thought the movie was amazing, guys, and it's really beautiful. And this is a SAG thing. I want to say, Oscar, amazing job. I think beautiful, very layered and really kind of brave performance. I called you after I saw it. I was like, dude, amazing, dude, it's fucking amazing. And also just as an actor, you throwing that ball up, and I was like, motherfucker, you had to do all that lines throwing the ball up. It's like my nightmare. I mean, you want to do all these, but you got a ball in the air. I'm like, are you, why do you hate me? But you did it so well. That's the shit that people don't think about when they watch movies and stuff. I'm watching that scene, I'm like, dude, Oscar's so good that that is nothing to him. The whole scene, if I did that, would become about the ball. I mean, all I want to do is
And the creation scene where he has to go up and down 3 stories every time something happens.
Those little high heel boots.
You gotta run through the boots and all that shit. And you get to do these iconic things, man. But you made it your own, which is so fucking cool, man. So congratulations.
I'm playing the part of Jacob Elordi.
Yeah,
tonight.
you're a good actor, though. You're a good
I
actor. I directed him on a TV show. You're a good actor. All right, well, let's give him a hand, guys.
I do have